Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Wednesday meditation gathering. I'm so glad you're all here to share this time together. This week we have Andreas Prohl, who will lead us in meditation, and then we have 20 minutes of silence. And after that, we'll open it up for sharing. Over to you, Andreas.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for showing up. Yeah, it's always an opportunity, really, to learn how to see differently, how to see with the Holy Spirit. And this morning, I've been looking at the dynamics of the ego. And at first, I thought, well, this is not a section for me. I'm busy with something else. I need another quote, another passage. And of course, there was a silent voice of reason within my mind that said, no, it is the right spot. You're at the right page. And I was reading about the ego and that the ego sells the reduction of fear, but it only sells the reduction of fear while maintaining it. And it has to do that. Otherwise, we would discard the entire thought system. If we would become aware that it only sells fear and not the reduction, a reduction of fear is meaningless. If we saw it's only fear, it's only working through the maintenance of separation and fear, it would become clear that our only decision that we're here to make is to choose love, is to accept the atonement for myself. And there is no value in whatsoever in any form of fear. And I would like to share that little passage with you. It's from chapter 11, 5, and then paragraph 9. The ego can and does allow you to regard yourself as supercilious, unbelieving, light-hearted, distant, emotionally shallow, callous, uninvolved, and even desperate, but not really afraid. All these forms are acceptable, so to say, acceptable for us. I'm just a bit, I'm a bit distant, I'm a bit uninvolved, I'm a bit light-hearted. But if I would see that these are all forms of fear, I can come to a true decision much easier, a true decision for love. Minimizing fear, but not its undoing, is the ego's constant effort, and is indeed a skill at which it is very ingenious. How can it preach separation without upholding it through fear? And would you listen to it if you recognize this? If you recognized this is what is going on? So this is also my invitation to look or to allow the Holy Spirit to show us the compromises that we do in our own mind to maintain fear and to see it only for that, to see fear for what it is. Now I have a clearer understanding that fear is like a continuum of experience. There's no pockets of fear, really. If I choose fear in any form, it clouds my entire perception. So this is the invitation to allow recognizing fear as what it is, seeing fear as what it is, and to make a new decision for love, for I want to accept the atonement for myself. And Teresa, if you're happy to give us the go signal, we can step into the meditation.
Open your eyes and come back into the room. We have 18 minutes left for sharing your reflections and your questions. If you'd like to share, raise your hand, or you can use the reactions button at the bottom of the screen, and I'll invite you to take yourself off mute. And if you'd like to ask Andreas a question with confidentiality, put your message in the chat function at the bottom of the screen, and I'll read it out.
Anything you came aware of? Did you recognize something in the meditation? Teresa.
Thank you, Andreas. Oh, that was very nice. Thank you. I wrote down that you said ego is something like this, reduction of fear while maintaining it. And that really, I thought this morning, before this meditation, myself and Dan, we did a smaller one, and I suddenly became aware of a very, very old memory, and it brought up such sadness within me, and then I did a little writing, and I realized, ego, whether we call it fear in all its different guises, in this case it was sadness, and in my writing, it just shone the light on it that, like you said as well, just allow it to be there, but make a new decision. And so I realized it's come up for healing, it's come up for forgiveness. So during this practice, I was able to go back to that very many, many years ago memory and do a lot of forgiveness around it. And so that was one thing I wanted to really thank you for, because that was very healing. And the second thing is that before we started recording, we were talking a little bit, well, we weren't talking, but the word loneliness came up. And to me, that was, and I really related to that as well, this loneliness, deep well of emptiness within that I so recognize. And before the course, I didn't have words, really. I didn't realize that it was a deep, I always wanted this connection. I didn't realize that I was feeling so separated, and that it's really about the wholeness of, with eternal love, with God. And so as time has gone on, I've come to understand that, but that was a good one to look at. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Teresa. We had similar experiences this morning. I was also in like an old mood of desperation and everything's futile, and this kind of movie went on. And I thought, this is very familiar. I know this from way, way back. So I better have a clearer look at what I'm doing in my mind and make a new decision. Thank you for sharing. And also, yeah, it's, what we're looking for is really, I am not alone. I want to have the experience that I'm not alone. This is so, it's literally hell to experience myself as alone and separated. So thank you for every new experience that we have together.
Annie, take yourself off mute.
Thank you, Andreas. I tell you what, I really so appreciated was the 20 minutes of silence. Because, with your question about the ego and how it was for me an experience of feeling everybody around me and all their love and joining with everyone here today. It's so renewing. I find it really renewing. And obviously the ego doesn't like me doing that, so it'll shuffle in and there'll be a little twitter of anxiety. I have that. That's my, When I started doing the course, I hadn't realized that I was anxious all the time, literally all the time. And I became aware of that. And very much today, that helped me again to be aware that it's there and release, forgive it, forgive the making myself real by feeling anxious. But I thank you so much, Andreas. Thank you.
Thank you for using the opportunity to join, to reflect. Yeah, really, it's in the end, it's simple, it's just a decision. I am afraid because I'm thinking fearful thoughts. So it's again here, this guy is doing it, and I'm learning to make a new decision so that there's nothing, like I don't have to tolerate fear or anything. There's always a new opportunity, a new moment to accept from the Holy Spirit.
Yes, always choosing again. Choose again. Choose again.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Almost sometimes it's even, you got to be stoic in your mind, like because in the untrained part of my mind, everything's welcome to distract myself with work or just, I'm busy, or I need another coffee. But if I become clearer about where I am in my mind and what I'm doing to myself, my priorities shift. And I see, no, it is a priority to stay with, choose again, to stay with, I want to accept the atonement for myself. I'm forever an effect of God. And to take myself at the hand and to train my mind into this new direction.
Kirsty, take yourself off mute.
Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Andreas. Where I got to with that was unwillingness, where you said that make a new choice, and I don't know that I'm not willing to forgive. I don't realize it. I'm not conscious of my own unwillingness to forgive at all. I kind of work this all the time. I'm constantly doing forgiveness practice. And this unwillingness hides, it hides away. But actually, I've seen it a few times before. And I saw it today in that meditation where I was really feeling the ego's rage and fear, and then trying to make a new choice. And there I saw this unwillingness, and what I saw behind this unwillingness, it's not quite what Jesus says in this passage, but it's my own version of it. Behind the unwillingness there's fear, because if I was willing to forgive, then that would, that's the most terrible thing to the ego, isn't it? That's that the ego is extremely fearful of forgiveness, true forgiveness. And I just saw this unwillingness and then the fear behind it. And I'm just not conscious of it. But it takes me to really, really look hard at it with Holy Spirit in order to see it. I'm out.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing, Kirsty. Yeah, wonderful. Yeah, and this is what he says. You gotta raise the hatred to the level where you become aware of it. Like, it's important to recognize that I am against the nature of love. I'm consciously choosing not to be myself, but rather I choose to not be myself. I rather be something else. I'm someone who's in fear and limited. And if I become aware of that, there's no obstacle, there's no hindrance, there's no block that can prevent me from choosing again. If I wait for the hindrance to allow me to choose again, I will wait until the cows come home, which means I will wait forever because the cows never come home. They always stay out. So, okay, I am unwilling to forgive, so I choose to forgive. I can't wait for it. I'm the authority in that. I have free will. And this is exactly the spot where I need to exercise this, new decision. And it's nothing more and nothing less than that. It's just choosing between the impossible and the only thing that's real. But I need to make that decision. God has given all the decision to his son. God doesn't make any decisions. There's nothing to choose between for God. So we're the ones who can decide. We have a precious opportunity. We're the only ones in the whole universe of God that can decide. And it's a decision between illusions and truth. And ta-da, here we are. We're right in the middle of it. This is a cosmic event, if you want to put it that way. It's a cosmic anomaly. Is that a word? Cosmic anomaly? We choose. It's a curious thing.
Yeah, it's very powerfully put there, Andreas. Thank you for that.
Thank you for your...
It doesn't feel like that, but it is actually how it is, isn't it? So, yeah, thank you.
And that's the thing with forgiveness in general. It doesn't feel intuitive. You know, if I wait for something that feels intuitive to me, I will never forgive, because that's the last thing I want to do. Forgiveness, salvation, this is nothing in my whole conditioned mind. This is the last thing I would do. So it's a training. It's a training to choose anyway. Yeah.
We'd like to share.
So intuition is of the ego, Andreas. Is that what you're saying? That kind of...
I wouldn't wait for intuition. That's what I'm saying. I wouldn't wait for an intuitive feeling of, okay, I think now I can forgive. But if you look at your surround, like how you feel before forgiveness, you feel in conflict, you feel in resistance. And if I wait until this abates, I'm basically wasting my time. But if I say I'm in conflict, I'm in fear, I feel guilty, I feel ashamed, I feel a victim, therefore now I choose again. Therefore now I choose a miracle instead. Something like that, to put it more into a practical framework.
Thank you, Andrea.
Thank you.
Who'd like to share? Sandy, take yourself off mute.
Thank you, everyone. That's been really wonderful this morning, and that's what I needed. The ego really wanted to come in very quickly in the meditation, as it does. It wants to draw you away from that peace and that love and that calm. But today, instead of sort of fighting it a bit, I just said, "Oh, hello, fear. Come and sit with me for a minute." And as soon as I did that, I felt my whole body relax. Everything just calm. So sometimes it can be as simple as just inviting that to come and be with you rather than push it away. And that's a form of forgiveness that I was listening to everybody, and I'm thinking, well, that's my form of forgiveness. I'm inviting it in with love, and as soon as I do that, it just dissolved, and I could feel my whole body almost melt. Went, oh, that's better. So as little bits came in, I just invited everything to sit with me, and it just all kept just dissolving. It was really, really beautiful. So thank you, Andreas, for this morning, for that opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Wonderful.
Who'd like to share? Norman, and then after that, Dennis.
Yes, thank you. I can relate entirely, 100% with everything you've said. I can go along very, very nicely and see the world improving all the time, but then something silly will happen and the ego straight back in. For instance, renewal of an insurance, and it's jumped up more than 28% or whatever the inflation is, and rotten pigs, they're just jumping on it. And it's just a wee thing like that will set me off. And I know fine rightly it's the ego that's doing it, but why does it always jump in? You know, the slightest invitation it has, shoom, straight in. And even though I know it's the ego doing it, you know, I would sort of rant and rave, knowing that I'm ranting and raving at nothing. You know, knowing it and putting it into practice seem to be two different things. You know, because I realize the beauty of life without it, but it's still there and it'll jump in, you know, and I'd rather not have it at all, but it just seems to be this, no way it's going to go away. Thank you. But at the same time, I've tried everything, and I can get long great periods without it, but the silliest wee thing, and it's away. And I know it's doing it, but it just won't go away. And I was hoping that maybe there was some trick to it. You know, it was obviously cleverer than I am, but yet at the same time, it's nothing. It's absolute nothingness, and I'm making it real.
Yeah.
I can't help doing it.
Yeah, well put, well put. And it's true, it's annoying, you know, like, and this is also we become aware of. It is annoying, but we're not really disturbed by it. Like, okay, fear is annoying, but you know, okay, well, then that's how it is. But to develop an intolerance for fear, to say, okay, no, hang on, this is not terrible at all. I choose again. This is the training. This is what we're called to, so that we can actually liberate ourselves from any thoughts of fear. And yeah, how wonderful to recognize the games and the loops that we keep active in our mind. So really, like the insurance, you know, let me see the blessing behind it. Really, like you can really claim that. Let me see the blessing behind that, because there's a blessing behind it, and no blessing that has to do with any sacrifice or any loss. But he needs to show that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dennis, would you like to share?
The whole world seems to work on fear, and fear multiplies by the amount of attention we give it. So where does fear come from? Isn't it the thought of separation?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's a thought of separation, exactly. This is how separation is maintained as a dream, not as a reality, but this is how we keep it. This is how we repeat the one instant where we thought of separation.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like the glue, how we stick our minds to a past moment. Literally, he says this is just the past, and you repeat it by reproducing fear, which in reality, and Norman just said it, it doesn't exist. It doesn't have any cause. It has no effects, and it has no power. But if I believe in it, it seems to have power.
Okay, we've come to the end of our time together. Take yourself off mute and show your appreciation to Andreas. Thank you, Andreas. That was wonderful.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Andreas.
Thanks, Andreas.
Thank you, Andreas.
Thank you
That's
so much.
all.
Thank
Have a good
you.
day.
Thank you.
Let's
Thank
love.
you.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Thank you.